Arthur I. Schulman. Arthur Schulman is a cognitive psychologist who is an associate professor emeritus at the University of Virginia. He was instrumental in the formation of the American Civil Liberties Union of Virginia. It was during his tenure as chairman of the Charlottesville, Virginia chapter that an ACLU lawsuit played a part in the University of Virginia finally admitting women undergraduates. However, he is probably better known as a puzzler because for more than 60 years, he has been contributing crossword puzzles to the New York Times. How many of you ever finished one of those? Arthur Schulman.
I was a math major as an undergraduate at Brooklyn College, but I realized very soon thereafter that I was never going to be a mathematician. And so after I graduated, I went back to take some undergraduate courses in psychology because I thought I might go on to do graduate work in psychology if I learned a little bit about it. As an undergraduate, though, before I had one psychology course as an undergraduate at Brooklyn, and that was a course that Wayne Dennis taught. I got a C in it, okay? So I was not one of the star students in that particular class. When I went back to BC, after I had graduated for a semester or two, I took a marvelous course with Edward Gurdon, an experimental course in psychology, which really pointed me in the direction that I pursued. And I think I thought of myself as a cognitive psychologist already then, even before that term was not used in psychology. It was a great course. I would like to say more about it, but we haven't got time for it. Okay. The other professors that I had as an undergraduate here, the most important one for me was Randolph Goodman in the English department. He was the author of I, Walt Whitman, which some of you may remember. He introduced me to Whitman, to Dickinson, to Crane, to Emerson, and I think he was always disappointed that I didn't become a writer. Another course that was important for me, which I took later on, was with a young professor of philosophy named Paul Taylor. I wrote a term paper for him in which I used as an epigraph, in a world of fugitives, one taking the opposite direction will appear to run away. That's a quote from T.S. Eliot, okay? He wrote on my term paper that he had often finished his course with that quote. Okay, so that was a great pleasure for me. I will also mention the fact that one of my best friends when I was growing up was the pianist who became known as Peter Nero, who apparently got one of these awards just a few years ago, okay? Finally, I want to say something that has nothing to do with Brooklyn College, at least nothing that I can think of, but I'd like some of you in the audience to know about. About a year and a half ago, I stumbled upon a book in the Recycling Center in Charlottesville, Virginia, where I live. I stumbled upon a book that was written by a Yiddish writer who is virtually unknown today, but who deserves to be remembered. His name is Moshe Oyved, spelled O-Y-V-E-D in transliteration, okay? He was born in Russian Poland in 1885, I think. Moved to London at the turn of the century, became the proprietor of a famous jewelry shop there called Cameo Corner, which still exists, I understand, but who wrote a two-part autobiography around 1916. It was published in New York by Holt in 1916, which he himself had translated from the original Yiddish. Okay, it's called Visions and Jewels in the English language version. For those of you who might be interested in finding out a little bit about him, and most people, even Yiddishists, even people in Jewish studies departments, don't even know about him today. And some of the Jewish encyclopedias don't mention him, okay? But it's wonderful stuff. And recently, Jules Chemetsky, who's getting one of these awards but is unable to be here today, and who is a founder of the Massachusetts Review, managed to put on the Massachusetts Review blog a piece that I had written about Moshe Oyved. So if you want to go to the internet and put in either Massachusetts Review and go to their blog, so in a recent blog you will find this piece on Moshe Ovid, but you can also get there by Googling my name, Schulman, and Ovid, and it will come up. Anyhow, it's a pleasure to be here.